Making headlines this hour, President declares the rebranding and the name change of Ibrahim Nasir International Airport. Defence Minister Adam Sharif says discipline and civilized behaviour needs to be instilled in young people. And 29 Turkish police officers go on trial on charges of being involved in July's failed coup. Good evening and welcome to Nightly News on Television Maldives with me, Fatma Sara. Maldives National Defence Force MNDF firefighters have extinguished a fire that broke out at a house in Hembe ward of Mali City. No one was hurt in the incident. According to MNDF Fire and Rescue, the fire which started on the terrace of Sauce and Flower House was controlled and extinguished within an hour after firefighters arrived at the scene. President Abdul Yamin Abdul Qayyum declares the rebranding and name change of Ibrahim Nasir International Airport. The decision was made after cabinet consultations focusing on the transformation of the airport in line with the administration's economic vision. First developed pursuant to a declaration on 1st May 1964, the establishment of an airport proved significant in developing and cementing several key foreign relations while also enhancing the country's economy. With the active involvement of a large number of public, the then Prime Minister Sumuvul Amir Ibrahim Nasir Ranabandir Kilegfan played a critical role in realizing the airport. While the recent leasing of the airport had come at great economic cost to the Maldives, the impending downturn has been avoided with the legal matters concluded and the control of the nation's gateway back in line with larger national interests. The enhancing and expansion of the airport, its facilities in line with President Yamin's vision, is set to reinvigorate the nation's economy, similar in significance to the economic transformation brought about by the initial development of 1964. Upon completion, the tourism sector will see significant growth, while at the same time the airport would work toward becoming a major hub for distance travel. With the rebranding, the airport is to be referred to as Velana International Airport. While concise, Velana is also a reference to former Prime Minister Sumuvul Amir Ibrahim Nasir Ranabandir Kilegfan. The name Velana International Airport comes into effect on January 1st, 2017. Defence Minister Adam Sharif urges everyone to work to instill discipline and civilized behaviour in children and young people. He made the appeal while speaking at a special function held last night at Islamic Centre to mark the National Unity Day. Defence Minister Adam Sharif Umar said that nurturing children with the right values from an early age is important to raise a compassionate and caring generation. He also spoke about the importance of the country's religious unity and urged everyone to be wary of attempts to create religious divisions among the people. Speaking at last night's function, Health Minister Abdul Nazim said history of the world shows that a country or place without unity cannot achieve development. He highlighted that the country has regained and maintained its independence through the united efforts of all citizens. The National Unity Day is marked as a reminder of the unity among Maldivians on that day and to encourage everyone to keep the spirit of unity alive. On the 26th of December, massive tsunami waves hit countries in Southeast Asia region, including Maldives, causing death, destruction and devastation of unprecedented scale. The tsunami was the result of a massive earthquake which occurred off the western coast of Indonesia. The wave took 3 hours after the earthquake to reach the Maldives. The effect of the tsunami was felt all across the country around 9:20 a.m. on that day. The tragic disaster 12 years ago claimed the lives of 82 people, leaving another 26 unaccounted for. The waves also left 4 islands in total ruin, with another 23 sustaining severe damages. Maldives came together in a show of unity to prove that togetherness is key to surviving such a tragic situation. Due to the exemplary unity demonstrated by the people on December 26, 2004, the day is annually marked as the National Unity Day. Ambassador of Russia to the Maldives, Alexander Karshava, called on Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Mohammad Asim. During the meeting, Minister Asim and the ambassador exchanged views on further strengthening the bilateral and multilateral relations between the two countries in the areas of related to tourism and investment promotion. The minister also highlighted on the historical bonds of friendship between the two countries. Housing Minister Dr. Mohammad Muiz says that action will be taken against contractor of proposed apartment complexes on the Odeon and Nadi plots for failing to commence the projects by the agreed date. He said that the Housing Ministry will send a notice to the contractor over the coming days. Both projects are contracted to a subsidiary of India-based Tata Housing Development Company. The company previously announced that the construction work on the 120 luxury flats will commence in May 2016, but has so far failed to do so. A total of 4 plots of land were allocated to Tata Housing to develop apartment buildings, and the company has so far developed 288 units on 2 of the plots. Seaplane operator Trans Maldivian Airways commences operations from the newly established seaplane base in Adda City. The first flight was operated to a resort in Uhuadu Atoll. PR and marketing manager of TMA, Ibrahim Shifan, said that resorts in the southern atolls have welcomed the commencement of the operation, and they are requesting to operate photo flights in the region. There are 9 resorts operating in 3 southern atolls, with a further 10 resorts under construction. Addu International Airport says resorts in the 3 atolls have a combined bed capacity of 2,000, and the seaplane operation will further boost tourism in the region. Environment Ministry has assigned a contractor for the consultancy service for feasibility study for an integrated solid waste management system for Zone 3, including Greater Male, and prepare engineering design of the regional waste management facility in Thilafushi Island. The contract was signed with Water Solutions Private Limited at a ceremony held at Environment Ministry today. It was signed by Deputy Environment Minister Ali Amir and Director of Water Solutions Private Limited, Hassan Shah. According to the Environment Ministry, the total cost of the project is 5.2 million rupiah and is expected to be completed within 8 months. Under the project, designs an EIA for the waste management facility to be developed in Thilafushi Island of Kaf Atoll will be conducted. Equipment required to establish waste management centres in the islands in the Zone 3, including the islands in Kaf Alif, and Waw Atoll, will be also acquired under the contract. Tourism Minister Musa Zamir says despite challenges, the country recorded a significant growth in tourist arrivals this year. Minister Zamir said international tourism faced major setbacks during the year due to conflicts in Middle East and terrorist attacks in France and Germany, which affected tourism around the world. He said despite boycott campaigns run by some parties, the country saw an increase of tourist arrivals during the past 12 months. Tourism statistics show over 1 million tourists visited the country by October this year, which is a 3.6% increase compared to the same period last year. Arrivals from Europe saw a significant rise this year, while arrivals from Middle East, America and African countries also grew compared to 2015. China is to invest more than $259 million into the construction of highways and water transport and rebuild 200,000 kilometers of rural highways.
Data released by Chinese Ministry of Transport shows that from January to November of 2016, more than 6,000 kilometers of highways have been built, totaling 130,000 kilometers nationally. The length of rebuilt rural roads has exceeded 290,000 kilometers. Chief planner of the Chinese Ministry of Transport, Zhao Chongjiu, said the year of 2017 will be crucial for speeding up the construction of traffic infrastructure network. In his opinion, the network construction has two meanings. First is to accelerate the network of various modes of transportation. Second is to further promote the connection among those modes. In 2017, the ministry will address three key areas. One has to construction of regional and provincial highways still awaiting completion. Two, promote the connection of infrastructure between third or fourth tier provincial cities to China's largest urban centers. And three, rebuild urban roads linking national and provincial roads together with entrance and exit sections into cities. According to the conference, more than 5,000 kilometers highway will be built in 2017 and 200,000 kilometers rural roads will be renovated. Zhao said the construction will be focused on poor areas. The ministry has signed co-construction agreements with 24 provincial governments as of the end of November.
And looking at news from international arena, several Syrian political opposition groups announced that they will come together to establish a new organization called the Syrian Democratic Front in Damascus.
The new opposition organization calls on the country to step up its entire efforts and hopes that the domestic crisis will be solved through political means. It also urges relevant countries to lift sanctions against Syria as early as possible. The front includes a wide range of members that have had experience in peace negotiations. The Secretary General of the front, Mahmoud Mouri, said that it consists of many domestic opposition groups, of which some have joined the opposition delegation and participated in the peace talks in Geneva. According to a statement by the front, the organization will attend peace talks in the Kazakh capital of Astana or the Swiss city of Geneva as the representative of the Syrian political opposition. Mouri said they are ready for peace talks in Geneva and Astana and are doing well with these countries. Domestic political opposition in Syria constitutes another force in the country's peace talks beside domestic armed and foreign opposition. However, without support from foreign powers, it has very limited influence. As the civil war progresses, solving the Syrian crisis through political means has gained positive momentum. The United Nations Special Envoy to Syria, Staffan de Mistura, announced on December 19th that a new round of multilateral talks on the issue will be held in Geneva on February 8, 2017. 3 days earlier, Russian President Vladimir Putin said another dialogue between the Syrian government and its domestic opposition is expected to be held in Astana.
29 Turkish police officers go on trial on charges of being involved in July's failed coup. The first trial against the alleged putschists was held amid tight security at a courthouse in a huge prison complex at Silivri to the west of Istanbul. Prosecutors are seeking 3 life sentences each for 21 policemen and demanding jail sentences of between 7.5 and 15 years for the other 8 officers, state-run Anadolu news agency said. It said the police officers were accused of not obeying orders to protect President Tayyip Erdogan's palace in Istanbul on the night of the coup. Relatives of the police officers attended the trial along with plaintiff lawyers who called for a fair trial. "220 fishermen released by Pakistan in a goodwill gesture have reached India's northern Amritsar city through their main land border crossing of Wagah. Pakistan had earlier released them on Sunday in a bid to ease tensions with its neighbour. The men were arrested more than a year ago, accused of entering Pakistani waters in an area of the Arabian Sea where the border is unclear. India is also holding Pakistani fishermen for the same reason, and Pakistan hopes its gesture on the birthday of the nation's father, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, which coincides with Christmas Day, will be reciprocated. Pakistani officials had said on Sunday that further 219 fishermen will be released on January 5th. Some of them echoed a sense of desperation among them. The UN Convention on Law of the Sea states that fishermen who cross territorial waters can be warned and fined but not arrested. Relations between the nuclear-armed neighbors have been more fraught than usual since a crackdown by Indian forces on dissent in Indian-controlled Kashmir began in July. Taiwan warns that the threat of enemies is growing day by day as Chinese warships led by country's sole aircraft carriers sail towards the island province of Hainan through the South China Sea on a routine drill.
The drill comes amid renewed tension over Taiwan, which Beijing claims as its own, following US President-elect Donald Trump's telephone call with the island's president that upset Beijing. Taiwan Defense Minister Feng Shihuan said during his speech at the ministry event that he would like to remind everyone that the threat of the enemy is growing day by day and urged to always maintain combat alertness. The Chinese warships rounded Taiwan, passing between the Japanese islands of Miyako and Okinawa and through the Bashi Channel between Taiwan and the Philippines. China has given few details of what the Soviet-built Liaoning aircraft carrier is up to, saying that it is on a routine exercise. China's Air Force conducted long-range drills this month above the East and South China Seas that rattled Japan and Taiwan. China said those exercises were also routine. China claims most of the South China Sea, through which about $5 trillion in ship-borne trade passes every year. Neighbors Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan and Vietnam also have claims. In Taipei, a Defense Ministry official said on condition of anonymity that the Liaoning was maintaining a southwest course towards Hainan and not heading deeper into the disputed South China Sea near the Spratly Islands that lie close to the Philippines, Malaysia and Vietnam. The official said that carrier had not sailed close its Abu, referring to Taiwan's only holding in the Spratly Islands, and that Taipei continues to monitor its movement.
South Korea's Constitutional Court holds its second preparatory hearing on President Park Geun-hye's impeachment case. Park was indicted in a December 9 parliamentary vote by a wider-than-expected margin after being accused of colluding with friend Choi Soon-sil to pressure big businesses to make contributions to non-profit foundations backing presidential initiatives. The Constitutional Court must decide whether to uphold Parliament's December 9 motion to impeach Park, which could take up to 180 days, and if successful trigger an election 2 months later. Neither Park nor Choi appeared in court on Tuesday. The court said it would hold the next preparatory hearing on December 30th and begin hearing arguments on January 3rd. Colombia aviation authorities say human error is to blame for Chapecoense football team plane crash that killed 71 people in late November. Colombia aviation authorities said on Monday that errors by the pilot, airline and the Bolivian regulators are to blame for a plane crash in Colombia that killed 71 people last month, including most of Brazil's Chapecoense football team. Officials said the plane, operated by Bolivia-based charter company La Mia, crashed on a wooded hillside near Medellin because the pilot failed to refuel en route and did not report engine failure caused by the lack of fuel until it was too late. Colombia Secretary for Air Safety Colonel Freddy Bonilla told journalists that they have evidence showing that no technical factor was part of the accident. Everything involved human error, added to a management factor in the company's administration and the management and organization of the flight plans by the company and authorities in Bolivia. Bonilla said aviation authorities in Bolivia had accepted conditions for the flight presented in the flight plane that were unacceptable. He said that besides a lack of fuel, the plane was over its weight limit by nearly 400 kilograms and was not certified to fly at the altitude at which the journey took place. The preliminary conclusions of Colombia's investigation coincide with assertions by Bolivian authorities last week that La Mia and the plane's pilot were directly responsible for the accident. Bolivian authorities have said that Colombian investigators have the final word on the causes of the crash. The aircraft had been transporting the Chapecoense team to the biggest game in its history, the final of the Copa Sudamericana. All but 3 of the players and staff on board were killed. 2 crew members and 1 journalist also survived. Sailor Thomas Coville arrived in the French port of Brest, cheered by a crowd of supporters, hours after smashing the world record for a single-handed non-stop sailing circumnavigation of the globe. According to his sponsor, Sir Debo, the 48-year-old Frenchman crossed the finish line of Brittany on Sunday after a voyage of 49 days, 3 hours, 7 minutes and 38 seconds in his 31-meter trimaran, slashing more than 8 days off the previous record. It was Coville's 5th attempt to beat a record set in 2008 by Francis Joyon, another Frenchman who sailed around the world in 57 days and 13 hours. Coville's Sir Debo Ultime yacht achieved an average speed of 24.1 knots. By chance, Coville set off on November 6, the same day his 29 competitors in the Vendée Globe around the world sailing race. While Coville is back in France, the leader of the Vendée Globe has recently rounded Cape Horn to re-enter the Atlantic. With that, that's it for now. Stay tuned for more updates of recent current affairs stories here on Television Notice. Thank you for joining us. Wish you a pleasant evening. Good night.